No matter what they've told you, your Bitcoin holdings can buy you a second passport. Hey, it's Katie from Plan B Passport. Today we will show you how to use your Bitcoin holdings to get another residency permit or a second citizenship, even if the media, banks, or immigration offices may have you thinking the opposite. I'm seeing more Bitcoiners stuck with this problem every day, but we've created a solution that lets you prove your wealth without giving up self-custody or, perhaps more importantly, your privacy. In the last year alone, we've helped dozens and dozens of Bitcoin holders to get approved for citizenship-by-investment programs using a documentation method we've developed specifically for self-custody Bitcoin. I'll break down exactly how we do this for our clients, which countries accept Bitcoin wealth in 2025, and what the step-by-step process looks like. So what's the issue? First, let me explain why this matters so much. When you're applying for citizenship by investment, countries need to verify that your wealth comes from legitimate sources. You can probably guess, since you're watching this video, that historically government programs informed by TradFi banks, immigration offices, have only accepted bank statements, employment records, retirement accounts holdings, brokerage account statements as your proof of funds. They're looking for a clear paper trail that shows how you've earned and accumulated your wealth. But here's where it gets interesting for Bitcoiners. When your wealth is held in Bitcoin, especially if you're practicing self-custody, which I hope you do, you should be, you're operating in a completely different paradigm that most governments just haven't caught up to yet. You might have significant wealth, but it exists outside of the traditional banking system. This creates a fascinating challenge. How do you prove ownership and legitimacy of funds while maintaining the privacy and security benefits that drew you to Bitcoin in the first place? Most immigration consultants simply don't know how to handle this situation. They'll typically tell you to sell your Bitcoin and keep the money in a bank account for 6 to 12 months before applying. Well, let me explain why this is problematic. Beyond the obvious issues of having to exit the perfect asset, you're also creating unnecessary tax events and exposing yourself to fiat currency risks. At Plan B Passport, we're Bitcoiners ourselves, so we understand the opportunity cost of holding fiat for extended periods of time. So after working with dozens of Bitcoin holders who literally hold zero fiat currencies or don't have any traditional bank accounts, brokerage accounts, etc., we developed a solution that preserves both your Bitcoin position and your privacy. Let me break down how it works, because understanding each component is crucial for anyone considering this path. The first pillar is what we call proof of acquisition. We document how you obtain your Bitcoin using a combination of exchange records, peer-to-peer transaction histories, or mining receipts. But, and this is most important, we do it in a way that doesn't reveal your entire transaction history or compromise your privacy. We've developed specific templates that provide just enough information to satisfy immigration requirements. The second pillar is proof of ownership. We are probably the only company in the industry that can actually help you sign the message cryptographically and prove that you actually control the private keys. It is still hard to explain this to immigration units, so what we did is we partnered with Bitcoin-only financial institution that will actually issue you that statement that looks exactly like your bank statement. However, what this financial institution does is cryptographically verifies your ownership of the private keys. It provides you with a paper trail statement that states your name, the amount of Bitcoin you hold, the date on which the statement was created, as well as the US dollar equivalent of your Bitcoin on that date. Traditional finance thinks about ownership in terms of account statements and balances, and this is exactly what we provide to the Citizenship by Investment unit. This allows you to provide the proof of funds to the immigration unit while still maintaining self-custody. And the third pillar is what we call the legitimacy bridge that connects your Bitcoin wealth to verifiable sources of income or capital. Maybe you bought Bitcoin with proceeds from a business sale, or perhaps you accumulated it through years of systematic investment. We'll help you document this in a way that makes sense to immigration officials while protecting your privacy. In some cases, we even have to draft an affidavit providing all this information from acquisition of Bitcoin to your current wealth that can be verified by a tech-savvy notary public and that will just strengthen your argument to the Citizenship by Investment unit. We are about to enter 2025 and jurisdictions finally starting to accept Bitcoin. So we solved the problem that restricts a lot of Bitcoiners from investing in residency or citizenship programs. Hooray! But now let's talk about how different jurisdictions approach Bitcoin wealth, because this varies significantly and it's crucial to understand these differences when choosing where to apply. Well, surprise, surprise, El Salvador is obviously the most forward-thinking. They have Bitcoin as their legal tender. They build their entire citizenship by investment program with Bitcoin holders in mind. They understand concepts like UTXOs, hardware wallets, multi-sig. Their processing time is also typically 3 to 4 months, which is significantly lower than other jurisdictions. And they're comfortable with direct Bitcoin payments. You can get citizenship by donating $1 million in USDT or Bitcoin to the country. Portugal is joining the race. While there is no direct Bitcoin investment option, there are now funds that are Golden Visa eligible that will allow you to invest in a fund that simply holds Bitcoin ETF. And we're certainly hoping that there will soon be a fund that will allow you to just hold Bitcoin in co-custody with the fund. For this program, the investment threshold is 500,000 euro, which is particularly low if you're looking for a foothold into the European Union. The Caribbean nations that are still the top of the race when it comes to citizenship by investment programs, they have definitely a spectrum of Bitcoin acceptance, and Antigua and Barbuda is now quite friendly to Bitcoin. You will be able to pay your donation through a third party using your Bitcoin, and they will also accept you as an applicant based on your Bitcoin proof of funds, source of funds, etc. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to Caribbean, these programs have been backlogged due to an influx of applications over this summer 2024, so processing may require more than a year. All right, step-by-step guide. You'll need our proof of Bitcoin ownership package, and I'll explain exactly what it includes in a minute. You'll also need documentation showing the history of how you acquired Bitcoin. We'll help you with all that, but I'm sure you have it somewhere stored. Then there's also standard background check paperwork that all citizenship by investment program require. And finally, you'll need a clear plan for making that final payment, whether you're doing it in Bitcoin directly or converting into fiat or using a third party to make this transaction. So how it all works out for you. First of all, you schedule a free call so we can brainstorm on which jurisdiction fits your goals and needs. After that, we sign the agreement for our services and we start preparing your paperwork package. At this point, you have not paid any donation or government fees to the island or the jurisdiction you want to apply to just yet. It takes about 30 to 45 days to collect all the paperwork necessary to submit the case. For some jurisdiction, we can shorten it to about 2-3 weeks. And considering the fact that Bitcoin custody takes different forms and shapes, we will custom tailor this Bitcoin proof of funds solution for you. Once we have the full paperwork package ready and you signed all the government forms, we submit the application to the jurisdiction, and this is where you pay the government fee. In some jurisdiction, it is between $1,000 and $30,000 for a family. After that, the processing starts, and depending on jurisdiction, it takes between 2 weeks to a year and a half at this point. And at the end of this process, you get a letter of pre-approval stating that as long as you proceed with the donation or whatever investment you specified in your original forms, you will be able to obtain the citizenship. So, as I mentioned, the top 3 jurisdictions that are currently Bitcoin friendly are El Salvador, very clear winner. Number 2 would be Antigua and Barbuda, who actually does recognize your Bitcoin wealth. They are very well known for that in the Caribbean now. They are my favorite jurisdiction in the Caribbean. And number 3 would be Portugal. First of all, a lot of Bitcoiners love this jurisdiction. They have 0% long-term capital gains tax. And now you can actually apply for a golden visa while still keeping your price exposure to Bitcoin. Remember, this proof of funds solution is about preserving your wealth and privacy while expanding your sovereign options. The right citizenship application, properly structured, can provide asset protection, a solid Plan B insurance plan, and of course, global mobility to you and your family. If you're ready to explore your options, visit our website. Together, we'll take a look at your profile, your goals and needs. We'll custom tailor this flag theory strategy for you and your family. We'll help you understand exactly how your Bitcoin holdings can qualify for any of these programs. And thank you for staying with me through all these details. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to this channel, subscribe to our Twitter at PlanBPassport, and we promise to have more in-depth Bitcoin-friendly content when it comes to investment migration. Click link below to schedule a free consultation, and thank you for watching this video.